Yes, hello, good afternoon, everyone. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. I hope you're doing all right. Deadline day, or in better terms for all of us Newcastle fans, just another Monday afternoon. It's Monday, the 2nd of February, a bit of a strange time to have deadline day, but because it fell on the weekend, we are going to be chatting about deadline day itself. Obviously, there's been a story about Tonali and we could say Jamaal Lascelles still head out the door as well. We'll touch upon the transfer window in general because there's been a lot of negativity about the signings. So we'll touch upon the likes of Chow, Alanga, Voldemada, Vissa, and so on. We'll go through that. A little bit about the under-21s. We'll do a quick recap with Liverpool. Obviously, the debacle in the second half should Eddie Howe changed it before that third goal. And then, obviously, we're going to look at Manchester City. We also have clips in from Joe and Josh. So do join in. If you're watching the rerun, we'd love to get your comments. We'll read them out in the live chat, but obviously we'll reply to you in the comments below. Dale, how are you?
I'm all right. Just anticipating who we possibly could get, but we'll find out later on, won't
You think we're going to get someone?
we? You never know. You never, probably not, but you never know. That is the main thing. You never know.
Maybe an under-21 player. Matt, are you optimistic as Dale?
The only signings Newcastle see is on Football Manager, I think.
You got two screens open again.
Sorry?
You got two screens open again.
All
So
right.
they're live and playing Football Manager at the same time, man.
Yeah, he's playing Football Manager. Yeah, you can see it's coming in as well. We need to have Bruno back and Wolfson higher, all right. And Mr. Stapleton, afternoon Lee. Yeah, hope yous are good. Right, keep your comments coming in because we will come back to them. Let's talk about where should we begin? Let's talk about the transfers in general first. So, Dale, in general, out of the Newcastle signings over the last summer, who has been a success so far?
Oh, I would say Malik Chow is the number one. He's been phenomenal. Yes, he has did a couple of mistakes in a couple of games, but overall he's been solid. I can see slowly Alanga starting to pay off his money that was spent from. But if Wissa kicks on and Valdemade starts picking up form again, it'll be justified. But at the minute, I'll just say Malik Chow.
Yeah, and you say that as well. I mentioned this at Liverpool, that Chow's starting to have a few errors creeping into his game. He's cost for 4 goals. But yeah, I'll probably say Chow and Voldemada got off to an absolute flying start, if you remember right at the start of the season. Because we all worried about, Isaac Gannon, where's the firepower, and Vissa being injured when he was on DR Congo duty. And Voldemada set the world alight, and obviously that's gone a little bit stale lately. But Matt, the same question back to you. You've got Ramsdale, Chow, Ramsey, Vissa, Alanga, Voldemada.
Obviously, Malik Chow has been the most successful. He's had those couple of errors have creeped in, but most of the games he's a sort of 7 and above. It's just those couple of errors that's obviously worried about with him. Ramsdale was a clever signing, just hasn't pushed on to push Pope. That's why Pope's back in the team now. So goalkeeping situation will be something that has to be looked at in the summer, I think.
Dale touched upon it before as well, because Alanga has been bright in the last couple of games. We're now at the stage of the been here 6 months, and Anthony Gordon was talking about this in his presser before the Champions League game in midweek. It took him 6 months as well, Matt. Do you still need to give Alanga and Ramsey, to some extent, a little bit more time, maybe towards the end of the season, then judge them?
I think with Alanga, it's a strange one, but was he one more affected by the Isak situation because he come in with his Swedish teammate and then all of that and thinking he's going to be there with him, and then that's why it's on there. He needs to get to the end of the season, but needs to have a good second half of the season because otherwise it's going to be a real waste of 55 million. Because in some of those games, other than the last couple, he has been poor. I think in the first half of the season, I'm thinking Union SG. That's the only game I remember him playing well up until the last couple. So yeah, give him to the end of the season, but time.
He did all right. He did all right against Barca in the first league game, the first Champions League game at St James's. I thought he caused. He was dangerous on the right wing. I think what it is with Alanga is we're not really using the right wing. We're going more on the left wing. We're mainly going to Gordon and then occasionally we'll switch it to the right, but we're not using Elanga as more often as we should, I think. So if we give Elanga the ball more, he's going to cause more damage.
I thought last home game was in the Premier League was much more brighter. PSG, I can't remember PSG. Well, now that I was too drunk. But then the recent one, Liverpool, I thought he was actually pretty decent when he come off the bench. You know, something that we needed to stretch Liverpool's defence, and he was running the channels and all that. And I thought there's little signs for me that there's starting to be some improvements in the tactical switch where Eddie Howe wants some. Look, I'm not saying he's the finished article by all means, no, and he wouldn't start for me still, but it's nice to say that there is at least some small steps with Elanga, and hopefully that does progress towards the end of the season, because at some point he's going to start a few more games because there's that many games. It's relentless at the minute. It's every 3 days. So yeah. I did see the live chat, super chat, so we will read that out. So thank you for your donation. Fingers crossed for a new manager ASAP. We'll just quickly touch upon that because Joe touches on that later. Dale, do you want a new manager?
No. Like I said on the last full-time focus, I was on the fence for Eddie Howe, and the only reason I'm sitting on the fence is it's just plan A. There's no plan B, and it was just the like-for-like subs. And I was saying, if he keeps doing that and there's no other plan B, it could be his downfall, and that means he's going to get the sack. But he's done wonders for it, and he's just got to man management. Just like, right, I need to have a plan B. If 4-3-3 doesn't work, try go with 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, and just change it up, just rather than going 4-3-3 and just do the like-for-like subs.
Matt, where do you stand? Case Ball UK is saying fingers crossed for new manager.
Not at the moment, but I think come the end of the season, at the end of the season, his time might have organically come to an end at Newcastle.
Oh, that's a great answer, that, isn't it? You kind of like sat on the fence, but then answered it as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Very good. Very, very good. Yeah.
What do you think, Lee? Where are you?
I think it'll be suicide to do it right now, Eddie. I think it's if we were, let's just say we did, Eddie Howe's gone. Who realistically, because you've got to have someone lined up to come in to have this a relentless game of fixtures every 3 days. It would probably be given to Graham Jones for 4 or 5 games. But 4 or 5 games is only 2 weeks with us. 4 or 5 games with teams on in Europe is probably a month. But for us, it's literally 2 weeks because it's a game every 3 days. I think it would be stupid to do it. I think Matt's got that's a sensible answer there. You look at the end of the season, what's went well, what hasn't. Has the money been spent well? Which leaves me nicely on to the next question again. Has the money deal been spent well over the summer? There's been a lot of people online the last few weeks saying that Eddie Howe signings have been a disaster. I've stuck up for him. Not because I'm a hobby clubber. It's because if you look at it also, the buys that he has done previously, the likes of Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento, I could go through like 6 or 7 of the squad who have been great buys, but is that fair judgment on one summer?
I would say yes, because we sold Isaac, so you needed a striker in, and then you just had Willisula, and then everyone's not keen on him, so you basically needed 2 strikers, which we got. We needed a right winger, which we got. We sold Longstaff, so you needed a midfielder, which we got Ramsey. Defenders, we're getting on in years, so we needed more cover. So in the summer, Eddie's done what he's done, right? I need cover for this, and he's bought where we needed. And so yeah, it's justified. Like some of the prices, like we got kind of ripped off with Vista. And Elanga was last season, yes, I would pay 50 mil for Elanga. So yeah, all the prices are justified.
Because have we overpaid because people knew where we were with the Isaac situation?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because we had the situation with the new directors coming in as well, so that complicated things. Then the Isaac situation complicated, so we overpaid for Visser. We might Walter Marder might have overpaid, but you don't know with that one. Depends on what contract he was on. Ramsey, I think, was just another PSR villain. 40 million, so we paid the 40 million, similar to us with Elliot Anderson. So I think it was the prices were overpaid, but I think it was the victim of the summer with that one. Just the summer we had on the off the field with that one.
I think we're underpaid for Chow.
Yeah, that one was a good.
I was expecting that to be around the 40-50 million mark, but
was Chow starting every game for Milan? I don't think he was he? So maybe it is. Now we're starting to say he's a great defender, but he does have that lapse in concentration where he has cost for 4 goals, but he is still a fantastic buy. Don't get me wrong. And Valdemara's great point. He's still 23, still a kid, really, isn't he? You've got to think you could play for Newcastle for another. Well, he's got no pace, so he doesn't rely on pace. He could play for Newcastle for another decade or so. But obviously, the transfers as we are now, the whole Isaac carry on over the summer, we did have to push the panic button and try and get players over the line. We have overpaid, especially for Johan Visser. But we'll have a look at the deadline news in a moment. But just touch upon briefly, Matt, I'll come to you with the under-21s. I've seen a lot of them. That's really only been the transfer activity this summer, is all the under-21 lads heading out on loan. First, your thoughts on some of those. I'll bring up the list for you in a second. But how disappointed are you about it? That is just that.
See, the under-20, right? The under-21s loans is something that needs to kind of. I wonder what's going on with our loan department anyway, because some of the loans we push out don't go very well. They either barely play. I mean, what's Sanusi doing at the moment? I know that was in the summer, but I know he was injured for a while. But he's not playing now. He's back from injury. It's like the decisions for the loan market isn't spectacular at the moment. So I'm hoping it works out well, and then that might explain why our under-21s are doing so poorly in the league as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've seen. I mean, Alex Murphy hasn't gone out. It looks like he might stay unless something happens today. But you've seen Joe White, Harrison Ashby head out to Bradford. Antonio Cordero's loan was recalled, and he went out to Cadiz, wasn't it? Who else was there? There's Brayson. He was expected to return back from Morpeth.
Thompson, isn't it? Thompson went out on loan.
Yeah, Max Thompson recently as well, because Aidan Harris, has come back from his loan from Northern Ireland. And there's been obviously a lot of talk as well about Matt Targett of all people in today as well. Dale Matt Targett was rumoured that he was going to be recalled at some part in January for quite a lengthy stage. It was like, because we've got that many injuries, was he going to be just sitting there as cover? But we haven't, and obviously it's again in the news today that we are not going to be recalling Matt Targett. And look, I think his career's done at Newcastle, but it just goes to show you where we are, that the club don't want to spend any money.
Yeah,
humming and hawing about bringing back a left back. It was effectively left the club really because he's a free agent.
Yeah, I think never know. Middlesbrough might just once he goes contract finish, I think he might go back to Middlesbrough. The way Middlesbrough are going, I think they're in touch of getting promotion. So that could be Middlesbrough just going, right, there's free signing for a left back. But it is like, I don't know what it is with Newcastle. We're like 3 seasons in a row now. We put all our eggs in one basket in the summer transfer. Just get a couple in, and then you got money left over to go and get in January. I just don't know why we don't. It's frustrating. Like Liverpool, all the big teams do it, and it's just like when it comes to January, it's like we don't do any dealings, loans or transfers, and then later down the line, the effects were really bad, and then all of a sudden, everyone's like, then all the fans at this point going, why everyone else is doing it? Why can't we do it? It's just like a simple structure.
People are putting the finger at Eddie Howe on this, and obviously he's the one who has to face the media every 3 days or so. And is that fair? Because he'll be desperate to have players in. Surely every manager wants players coming in.
Well, he'll be on now. The amount of games we've got, the time he's got on the training pitch working with those players as well, and with the Matt Targett situation, that's a lot of pressure on Lewis Hall if you haven't got a backup left back. Tino's he's injured at the moment as well. So if you think if Lewis Hall gets injured, we've got Cam Byrne playing left back and Trippier playing left back for 8 games in February.
Then you got Alex Murphy. Alex Murphy. I think that's why Alex Murphy hasn't went out on loan. Yeah. If we had everyone fit, Alex Murphy would be somewhat like League One or the Championship. on loan, but we've got the injuries, we haven't got the depth, so that's why Alex Murphy's in
But
Shaw is on the bench, because that's basically the next backup.
But do you think he would be trusted for the types of games we've got in February? That's the thing. So it's effectively we're still going to be going on there. He hasn't, and that's where his development, because he hasn't had many loan moves out, Alex Murphy, either. He's
Bolton, I think, wasn't it? Was he Bolton last season?
Yeah, it's with Murphy. I just don't think Eddie Howe rates him. I think his last resort. And I
think that's what I'm saying. But that's the main thing. But like, it's going to come to a point where, like, you have to. If you're not going to buy anyone, you're going to go back, right? I'll have to play the youngsters there. That's what I was saying. So like, Trippier. Well, obviously the Lascelles is probably going to Leicester. So then you've got like the Trips, Shaw, Burn, Kraft. Like, they've only got like a couple of seasons, and then after that, you're right down to the bones.
Yeah, and the only reason why Louis Miley is now part of the first team is because of those injuries 2 years ago. He got in the side and he's never looked back, has he? He was given the chance. So there's that argument as well, isn't there, about giving kids a chance. But I just don't think Eddie Howe really rates Murphy. I think I won't be surprised that if he's not out the door by the summer. Let's read some of your chat out. Hiya, you all right? Yeah. Hi, Les. Yes, apologies. I'll call Les a him before instead of a her. Gary says you want Voldemar to score, then supply him. Or have runners passing him, dragging defenders out wide. As Germany do this, great player. He will be a special player of some of our fan base. Don't destroy him. If somebody says, yeah, I agree to that extent. I think you do need legs around him. It's a bit when Shearer got older. And I do bring up Bellamy straight away because he loves him. But yeah, you've got to have legs around him. Solana on the right, Robert on the left, supply.
Yeah, so you had pace going down.
Yeah, Bellamy doing Shearer's running and so on. 4 sporting directors, says Daniel, under Eddie Howe. I think it's a settled relationship with Ross Wilson. Interesting to see how that develops. Yep, good point. Obviously, he's been busy with the Lascelles because obviously they've made 3 signings. Their deadline day is tomorrow, and we are expecting possibly another one. If you haven't seen our sister channel, Newcastle Fans TV Women, we've got Tanya's presser up there. She does hint that there could be more incoming. So if you want to check out the women's content, that's on a second channel. Matt, I want to come back to you then. Are you disappointed that there hasn't been any buys? Or can you see the logic with Eddie Howe when he's saying that if we spend now, that might hamper the summer?
See, I agree with the logic for the summer for 2 reasons. One, because of we're navigating those 3 letters with PSR. We're navigating that. That's where the value is. Also, goes back to what I was saying earlier on about there's going to be some conversations in the summer anyway, I think, amongst the hierarchy. So I think it makes sense. But the flip side of that is not making the transfers then could leave us in 10th, mid-table. So it's a delicate balance that you've got to get. And one signing, I think it depends. If Willock or Sulu would have gone out, we would have signed someone. Lascelles not going to bring the type of money we need to get anyone in. So we needed either Willock or Sulu to go out to get anyone that's going to improve the squad, not the first team, but the squad. And without that happening, I think that's why he's just thought, right, the summer, we'll go for the summer, leave the extra transfers for the summer, and then work with what we got.
It's interesting because also if you were to buy in January, that might not be a success either.
Yeah.
So you're right, it's delicate. Interestingly, you said if one of those 2 players was to leave, because a lot of fans on social media last night seen that saint-maximin, who's been on our channel, is now a free agent. It's not worked out in Mexico. He's 28 now? Some people are reminiscing that, the memories and the tricks and all that, and he loves Newcastle and all that sort of stuff. But it's not going to happen, that deal, is it?
Nah, I can't say. I can't. Well, I can and I can't, because I can see where people are coming from. Because
you wouldn't start.
He wouldn't start. He'd be a bench warmer, but he'd be effective from the bench, though. That pace. But the worry thing is, he's like end product was hit and miss. And too much trickery, and then all the defenders knew what he was doing, and then they just guarded him and type Martin. He couldn't do it. So it'd be interesting. Maybe go in for like a 6 months, like give him a 6-month contract, see how he does, and then if he performs well, and then put it on a more permanent basis, like a trial kind of thing.
I
So
love saint-maximin, but with someone off the bench who's with a lot of pace who could impact the game, and we've got a 55 million person on the bench with a Lang that we're open for that for.
I thought you were going to say a Sula there.
So then you got the other one is Raheem Sterling's on a free as well.
Nah, not the way.
But then I'd straight away I went wages. You'll want too much wages, and then he'll have a huff. He wants to be, I want first team football all the time, which he's never going to get ahead of Gordon.
Yeah.
Or Bonds at the minute.
There's been that link has been squashed with the saint-maximin this morning. David says we keep hearing about a transfer. Oh, missed that summer. Spend cap, says Steve. How would now that they lift other players and keep loads? I'm assuming the top 8 are higher. Don't buy, and his fingers crossed the current players set up. Yeah, we do have to. I think that's the way we're going to have to hope that we don't get too many injuries and that the turn of form. Gary says, I think we needed this window as a good centre-back who can also play it right back. From reading some of the financial stuff or problems isn't money. It's the whole CSR wages close to the limit for UEFA. Anything, guys, on that? Because PSR is slightly different to the UEFA one. I'm sure the UEFA one's slightly more relaxed, if I'm not mistaken, than what the Premier League's is. But I can't see anyone coming in, if I'm being brutally honest. But we will take a look at some of the transfers. We did touch upon, stories rather, that we're doing around. And this one, I'm going to come to you, Matt. Bizarrely, this morning, it came out that Arsenal, they might want him. There's a lot of clubs that probably want him. But Keith Downey's saying here that Newcastle have had no approach from Arsenal for Sandro Tonali. Don't expect one and wouldn't entertain one, despite a wild report. Not you put it in capitals there. There's been no talks involving the sale of the midfielder this window. If Newcastle are unwilling to allow Willock to leave, ... And Sandro's obviously not going to get, is he? But a bit of a stupid one, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that was. Loads of clubs will want him. Like they say in Arsenal, if they go on to win the league, they want to strengthen, but there's no way he's going in there. I'll have a best mate and one of my best mates and my brother will be very happy with that, but he ain't going nowhere. That was when I seen that this morning. I was like, that was the first silly one of the day.
And then obviously you've seen that Matt Targett will stay at Middlesbrough and won't be recalled. But Dale just touched upon Tonali. Is it a risk that we might lose him in the summer?
Possibly, but I don't see Eddie. We can't sell Eddie. Eddie can't sell like Tonali, Bruno, the big hitters. Even the only possible thing is like if someone offers big wages, big money, so like 70 to 80, 90, we'll only sell Tonali then, because if you take Tonali out, and it's like, and Bruno's already out there, if you take Tonali out, we've really got nothing in the middle, which is a massive worry. So,
question for both of you, if that's all right. If we had to sell one of those 3 in the summer, bringing all of it into account, impact, value, all that sort of stuff, which one of the 3 would you sell?
The midfield about, yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Linton.
Look, so we said it straight away there. I think because Joe Linton's... I don't know, because Joe Linton was inconsistent and he's starting to come good before his injury. But Tonali hasn't been fantastic. He's not hit the dizzy heights of it. We're not coming up the ground thinking, oh my God, Tonali. Oh, we're not saying that anymore. Yeah. It's like, what's happened to Tonali? Where is he? He's averaging 6s and 7s every game, whereas last season it was like 9s and 10s. But I think Bruno's probably got the biggest sell-on value, because if you sold Bruno now, you go for 100 million, I think. Tonali, probably around 70, I would say, if you were to sell him. Joe Linton, I don't think you'll get 70 for Joe Linton, but he's probably the weakest of the 3.
So it'll be I agree. Over the season, Bruno and Tonali is going to be the one that's going to be like getting your goals, getting assists. Joe Linton's more like defensive mid.
That rumour of Keith Smith just won't go away, so that might happen again in the summer. That might allow Willock to leave and bring in Smith as possibly an upgrade. Who knows? So what's up, guys? Steve's in the chat. American Steve's coming to the UK. Brace yourselves. Imagine him and Joe in a room. Christ alive.
Oh, no. Imagine Steve, Josh and Joe.
Sandro is in London or Milano. Arsenal's problem is the loss of Marino, longer than expected. on Tonali. We don't have to sell even this summer. Yeah, his contract's 2029 with an extension for one more year if we can trigger that. So yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. Obviously, as I've seen the Matt Target one, Jamaal Lascelles late last night. Matt, I'll come to you on this because this happened really late after 11 o'clock. I put the video on the channel. Jamaal Lascelles is expected to leave today with the medicals. At some point today, he might be announced as Leicester player, but what a servant, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd say great servant. And there was a reason he was made captain at such a young age for a captain as well, because he had those leadership qualities. He's been over a decade with us as stuff as well. Always like most of the time he was solid. Brilliant servant for the club, and then I hope he gets to have a couple of good seasons at Leicester. Finish his career well because he deserves it.
Yeah, obviously he's not played much in the last couple of years, but Daly's been here for almost 12 years. And if he does retire, do you see a testimonial happening?
Yeah, he deserves one. He was there when we got relegated. Like everyone else, just shut off when I want to play Premier League football. He stood by the club, and I think he's been phenomenal for it. Yes, we got more better players in, which got ahead of him, but he was still sat there, even on the bench, giving passing our experience to the youngsters, being behind the scenes as well, helping other players come in. He's just been a loyal servant, and I think he fully deserves a testimonial. Probably be against Nottingham Forest, like.
Aye, because obviously he's a Nottingham boy, and I expect that at the end of his career. And knowing Jamaal, he probably donate the money because that's the sort of bloke that he is. But yeah, good wishes to Jamaal Lascelles. Obviously, nearly got an England call up, and he was his partnership with Kieran Clark was vital. Coming up from the Championship, getting in the Premier League, staying in the Premier League, because those two formed a good relationship as well. They were friends off the pitch as well, which helps. So those had a fantastic bond, if you want to call it that, for 2-3 years. Then injuries started to creep in and better signings, no disrespect, but that's like Botman came in, and then it was Chow, and I think Fabian Schär came in when we got it back in at the Premier League as well for an absolute steal of $3.5 million. But yeah, good luck to Jamaal Lascelles. That's basically it for transfers. I cannot see anything happening. That's the news where we are today. Yes, there might be some mad stuff happening. Oh, we're linking with this player and what have you from Turkey and not reliable sources, put it that way, but it's very, very quiet. He's going to be replaced Wes Faes at Leicester. Yeah, he's moved on. I've seen that. I'm at both the Carabao matches and Everton, says Steve. All right, Steve Champion. Well, she'll see you for that. We'll definitely meet up with you. Sandro, yeah, cool. So that is the transfers. Do keep your comments coming in. If you want super chat, we'll read them out. We'll put it on display for you. Remember, our membership's only 99 pence. It's the cheapest on YouTube. We'll do about 5 to 6 videos. And we've got a new Facebook group exclusive for members only. We still have 75% of our members missing off it. So we need you to come across to our Facebook page. But let's talk about Liverpool. The defeat for about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll move on. We'll hear from Joe about it as well. But Dale, I'll come to you. The surprise at Anfield was the lineup, wasn't it? There was 3 strikers on the bench. Now, I don't know if you watched my vlog, but I did say Eddie Howe will either look like a genius if he pulls this off, or you'll get some stinging criticism. Where do you stand on that?
When I saw lineup, I was like, what? Going up front. I was like, Gordon's told you he doesn't want to go right wing, he doesn't want to go forwards as well. But credit to Gordon, he absolutely put in a shift up front. He was in Van Dijk and Canate's grill all game, like trying to get behind, going left, right, didn't know what to do. So I was thinking, when we took the lead, I was thinking, Jesus, Eddie could be on a proper genius stroke, yeah, masterclass. And then I think defensively trips right back. I think that's going to be possible, a weak link. They're just going to target them all the way in the way. And it's kind of disappointing. The first half, absolutely phenomenal.
It was the first half, bit the post as well. Harvey Barnes with a little pull back from Trippier, then Barnes whips it and hits the post. And I was at Anfield and I was dreading it, saying it of, oh, yeah. But it actually did surprise me. I was like, whoa, we're cutting Liverpool up so often. And I was like, wow, could we? Could we get a result? Because Gordon finishes low and it was a good finish, and it was like, bloody hell, it was pandemonium. But Matt, it was a fantastic start. But Newcastle have been criticised so many times this season of playing different halves. But did that goal, unfortunately, wake Liverpool up?
Oh, massively. The goal went in, and Liverpool were a different side when the goal, and then City. Obviously, like, goals happen in a second, but they equalised, and then I was like, right, keep it to half time because we've got a lot of positives to get from that first half. Get to half time, 1-0, and then when it went 2-1 at half time, I couldn't believe it. I was like, how are we losing at half time? And then the second half was just, there was nothing from us at all in the second half.
That's the criticism that I had, because when they equalise, yeah, they're probably a little bit lucky that there's a couple of ricochets and it's pulled back. But the second goal, from a team point of view, because they've been told to mark high up on the pitch. So we've got our right winger doing that. We've got Trippier marking, and then there's just a big, massive gap. And it's just split open. Don't get me wrong, Ekitike just brilliantly to, you know what, I'm going to finish this. A great finish. But Kieran Trippier, I don't know if you've seen it I don't know if it shows you on the TV. He gets absolutely nuts with all of his teammates because they haven't stuck to the game plan that the coaching team and Eddie Howe has set out. He's gone nuts. And it's like, there's just a big, massive gap of 40 yards. And like, where's the midfielder there? Where's the protection? There was no one there. And it's like, boom, dynamite, explode. You've just self-imploded. And then went into half time, but even in half time, I'm thinking, you know what, it's only 2-1. We keep playing like we did for the first half an hour, 35 minutes, we'll score again. But we just, I don't know what it was.
It's like, we conceded 2. All right, let's.
What was it? Is a tiredness because of the pressing had stopped? We allowed Liverpool to have the ball. Everyone was in their own half. And at that stage, we were screaming around us, right? He needs to make a sub on the hour mark. Make sub. Nobody was pressing. Liverpool had all the ball, and it was like, come on, make that sub, make the sub. Freshness. Whoever comes on, it's gonna get freshness, and then bang, it's 3-1. Chow, mistake, but then he makes the sub still.
Yeah, I was like, Sarah was like, we're watching the game. Sarah was like, proper like, doubting it is, but like I was thinking, but like the second goal, I looked back at it and it was clever from Liverpool. I don't know if you saw it. The ball boy just passed the ball to Alisson straight away. They went straight on the counter, which surprised our defence. They didn't expect that ball to be that quick. So we weren't even ready for that, and the call were off guard. But in the second half, I just thought, like, we went 2-1 down. They went, right, let's not make. And we can't afford to concede any more goals, and we just sat. For me, we just sat back. We didn't go after Liverpool, and then we didn't have a first shot until the 72nd minute, which was like 30-odd minutes in the second half. I'm like, that's not good enough in the second half. And the changes, I was like for like, yeah, we'll go. And it was like for like. I'm like, why? It's just like frustrating.
But then he did put Asula on too late for me. And
yeah.
Too little, too late for me. And Matt, I said to you before, it's sometimes Newcastle play halves, don't they?
Yeah, and that's been the frustrating bit all season with a lot of it. With certain games, it's like so good, like the Man United game, so good in one half, so poor in the other. Liverpool, so poor one half, so good the other. It's just, and then to say about the tiredness, but that's the price you get for being successful. So you've got to navigate that tiredness. I understand it's a lot of games, but that's what happens when you want to be a Champions League side with this new format. Going to Paris and then back to Liverpool the next day. That's what you want for being a top side. So if he can't cope with that, then that's the problem. That's where the tactics get criticised, because we could have made some change at half time. Not massive amounts. Not saying bring on 5 subs and FIFA, but one change at half time, just something different to give Liverpool something to think about at half time.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Just proves the lack of the depth of our squad compared to Liverpool's. You could see we were like dead. We like by the 60th minute mark, we were starting to really tire, and we don't have them impact players to come off the bench like Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Man United. So we're kind of like basically keeping it like, right, our squad is this. We haven't got the depth.
Apart from the attacking players, you're right, because he still had 3 strikers to bring on. and he still had Langa. So those four, I would say. But yeah, Newcastle sitting 10th after that defeat. Obviously, it's still very tight, as you say, in the Premier League table. Top 5 should get your Champions League once again, along as teams in Europe are doing well, which they are. And of course, we should expect Newcastle to go through against Carabao, but obviously all the other Champions League teams are through, and Europa League teams are doing well. But it's frustrating, but it's not over yet. Have a little bit of faith. We're still. I think the Premier League hasn't been great, and I think that's probably been in Newcastle's advantage, to be honest with you.
It's been one of the competitive seasons, I think.
You can look at it that way, you can look at it the other way.
Like, the top 3 are gone. Like, I can't see anyone catching Villa, Arsenal and Man City. But from 4th downwards, it's really tight. Like, yeah, we got beat, but then if we win Brentford and all the results go away, we're straight back there.
It's mad, isn't it? You just need 2 wins and you're straight amongst the mix again.
Yeah.
And this is why this February is going to be, because the games we've got in February, if we get through that period still within 5 points, 6 points to that top 4, then there's no easy games in the Premier League. But the games we've got after, we've had Tottenham, who will have a new manager, players coming back, things like that by then as well. If we get through that period still in touch, then there's that chance for that positivity moving forward as well.
Let's read some of your chat out, then we'll hear from Joe. So, speaking of Joe, I'm an average Joe, and even I didn't plan that. And even I could say that after 60 minutes, the front 3 had drained the batteries. Howe has had these random blind spot and doesn't not say sometimes so frustrating. Roots TV, 40s in the house. Hello, Eddie Howe, Lilola in, 2 rights. And then obviously Luminous has got your live chat then. That'll come up when we go past Eddie Howe's head. All right, we'll be back in 3 minutes. Here is Joe.
Aye, the Liverpool match, honestly, it's one of those where you've got to look at it from multiple sides. Is it just tactic choice from Eddie Howe, or is it something further afield, or is it a mix of both of these things? Because some things I think further afield is you've got to look at with squad depth right now. We're bare bones. We really are. We have no real bench at the moment, and although players are trickling back very, very slightly, is that something that affected us massively against Liverpool? I think once we got that first goal, Anthony Gordon, it did something in that it's something that we used to do with teams, it woke them up. Liverpool woke up after that moment and they were a beast that were hard to contain, but we should have did our best to contain. Why didn't we take on the tactics that we did against PSG? I felt the way that Liverpool were attacking was very much the same, and we didn't seem to sort of sit back and actually create the same sort of atmosphere on the pitch as we did at PSG, and now that's difficult when you're going down to Anfield. But regardless, I mean, I honestly thought right after Ekitike scored his first 2, I thought he was going in and getting the hat-trick, but hey, it is what it is. Disappointing, really disappointing. I'm not happy about it, of course not, but you've also got to put in the factor of look at the team that we're going against and look at the depth they currently have and look at the depth we don't have. So you ask, am I in, out, how? Some people are obviously on the fence. For me, I'm in, but I am starting to lean on that fence a little bit now. One of the big questions that keeps rising up to me is substitutions. The substitutions seem to come very late, and majority of the time it doesn't work. What are we doing? I think that needs to be improved upon. Earlier substitutions, it's very rare you see him make substitutions at half time or even in the 55th, the 55th, 60th minute. It's usually back end of the 60th and 70th minutes. Another big question for me, and a huge burning one, is Eddie Howe struggling with the schedule? Because if so, it's something he needs to improve upon. Now, there could be many factors to this, and it's the same of when I talk about the Liverpool result, is you look at the squad depth, and it's not as amazing as what we want it to be. We want a lot more there. You're dropping off and you're getting your likes of you. And don't get us wrong, he played brilliant against PSG, but you got your likes of your Willocks, who aren't really doing very good. Lascelles, who could be gone at this point. There's a lot of little factors to put into the whole management of game time and how many games we're playing and having such a heavy schedule. But I think regardless, something needs to happen, and Eddie needs to to pick it up quickly, because we can't have such a terrible Premier League form while making it to the knockout stages of the Champions League. But then again, is that just football nowadays? You look at some clubs that are finishing like really low in the Premier League, come into big top clubs, and then they go on really far into the European competitions. So I don't know. Look, I'm definitely not Eddie Howe out. No chance at all. I believe the 5-year plan is the 5-year plan for a reason. I think if by the end of the 5th year, Eddie Howe hasn't stabilised this squad in Premier League and in competitions, so that we're a dominant force across, we're not a dominant force, but we are a threatening force across all, I think then we need to look at possibly Eddie Howe leaving. But at the minute, Eddie Howe stays. I'm Eddie Howe in, and he's got me faith and backing. I just want a couple of issues niggled out. But yeah, thank you very much, Lee. Back to you, mate.
So that was Joe a little bit earlier. A couple of questions then, Dale, I'll throw back at you. He's Eddie Howe in, but the fence is leaning, which I think that's quite similar to what you've been saying.
Yeah.
But he's questioned the substitutes and the schedule. The schedule, I don't think that's his fault, because surely we want a game all the time because we're doing well. But in terms of managing the players, the substitutions, could he improve there?
Yeah, he can, because we have got the kind of the depth to rotate, but it's just, does Eddie have the faith in them to go, right, I'm going to start you, go big in the Champions League, and then go, right, just say Joe Linton, Bruno, Tonali, then you can go, right, the next game I've got Brentford at home, I'll put Willock, Ramsey, and Miley in the three, and then just like rotate. But Eddie doesn't seem to do that. He just seems to pick the strongest lineup all the time, and then it's like he's afraid to change. So I don't know why, but like if you've got the players to rotate, you rotate them, keep the players fresh, and that will keep them motivated. Rather than go, right, like for Ramsey, he knows for a fact he's going to be on the bench. The odd time he might get the odd start, but if you're going to rotate on a busy schedule and you've got the squad to do it, do it.
Couple of stats for you. We've never won a game whilst Anthony Gordon's playing up top. Not putting that on goal because I thought he was decent.
Yeah,
at Anfield, and we've never won a game when Bruno is missing from that start.
That's mental. 4 years. That's like,
he hasn't missed many, to be fair.
Is that just? I presume that's just in the Premier League.
Oh, I think that's general. Because he's barely missed a game, has he?
I was going to say, like, even the third round in the FA Cup and all that, like when he was rested.
Yeah, I think sometimes he's come on as half-time sub and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's a stat that's like just proves how bad we are with our Bruno, which is a massive, massive concern.
Yeah, I think the lineup I think he changed it at Arsenal, which surprised me, in PSG, but overall this season, I would agree. But not recently. I think he has mixed it up a little bit the last couple. But Matt, I wanted to come on to back to priorities, because do we come to a stage where we priorities maybe, not that I want to go out the League Cup, but that's going to look difficult. Villa away, it's difficult. Would it be the worst thing in the world if Newcastle were to go out both of those competitions?
I think the League Cup is done. I'd be very surprised if we go and get a result on Wednesday to keep our title. So that one, I'm still hopeful. I'm always glass half full with me with that one, but I think that one's done. The FA Cup, I see what you're saying with that, but also with
I don't want to go out, of course not.
No, but it's the kind of and that would also just breed the negativity as well, because it's another trophy gone, it's another on net, and then you don't want that kind of building as well. So we still want to be like challenging on all four. I think the thing with Eddie Howe is, what people might forget is, it's only his second season ever that he's had Europe to deal with, because he didn't get in the Europe with Bournemouth, did he? So it's only his second season dealing with all of this. And when we qualified for the Champions League the first time, we overachieved a little bit in that first season. Well, I think anyway. And then we didn't have that Europa League season, building up to a Champions League season, getting used to that. It's only his second season managing all of it. So I think that's where that's what with Joe saying about the scheduling and that.
It goes down to like the squad depth, as Joe and Dale's touched upon. Yeah. We've got a game every 3 days, and it's, even for me traveling, it's killing me doing all the vids and that. Imagine what it's like for, players traveling, sleeping, all that. You're barely training, aren't you? And I think what Newcastle could do with is a week break, but we don't have it. We're probably going to be into March at some point, and it might even go to late March as well. So, look, we want to be in every competition, but the squad depth we're struggling to handle it. So, but obviously City, we'll touch upon that next. As we move into the last quarter. Drop us a like if you're watching. Please do. Man City then, Dale. We'll hear from Josh, who's going to have his say in a snowy Philadelphia. Can we overturn it?
I would like as what Matt said, I'll be optimistic, and I'm thinking I want to do it, but I just can't see it happening. So I think what Eddie's going to do is 2-0 down, just give the fringe players and even give some youngsters, just give them a run out and go, right, I'm going to start use and focus on the League Cup. If we do, doesn't matter what the result is, just go out and enjoy yourselves and just show what you can do. Try and impress
it. That regardless.
Yeah. I think you should do it anyway. It's a free hit, like we said. It's a free hit. Go out and enjoy yourselves, and then we can concentrate on Carabao in other games.
Matt, is the first goal crucial?
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's and that's where the lineup's going to be interesting. So, like say, we've got to be playing a striker on Wednesday. See, I don't agree with like putting the sort of reserve, like the squad players out. It's our trophy. That's our trophy. We don't want to lose it without fighting for it. So I still want to see a strong lineup on Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Yes, on Wednesday.
It's going to be a strong lineup, but it'll just be nice to give the youngsters a run it.
But the first goal we've got to score. If the third goal goes to Man City, it could be a long night to watch.
Yeah, and like we don't mind getting beat. It's part and parcel of football. It's how you get beat. You get beat. If we get beat on in midweek and we've played well, I'll say, do you know what? Fair enough. We're playing against a side that spent billions in the last 15 years. But if we go there and park the bus and try and just sneak one in, I'll not be happy, because we've got to go out and attack. And if the game is dead, I agree for some extent with your deal. If we're 4-0 doing on aggregate with 20 minutes to go, we're not going to score 5. Chuck a couple of kids on, get them the experience, put Neve on, get Alex Murphy on, give them 20 minutes, let them experience the full environment of a stadium. It'll do their careers. I wouldn't have good, but it's gotta be really, really.
I'm expecting Man City to massively rotate because their youngsters are unbelievable. So
they're not playing great though.
Not playing great, but it'll be as long as I agree with what you say, Lee. I don't care if we got beat. Just say we got beat 3-0 on the night, 5-0 on aggregate. As long as we went, you know what? Let's go and give Man City a run for the money. Let's go and attack. Let's go and get that goal to put them under more pressure. But I've got a funny feeling he's just going to park the bus. I don't know. If he does, I don't know why.
Let's read some of your chat out and then we'll hear from Josh. Ramsey start the last game though. I mean, the lineup was brave. Gary goes on to say we will have plenty of breaks next season, 1 game a week. Oh, come on, Gary, man. That's negative, man.
Even if you don't get Champions League, just go for the Europa League or the Conference.
The funny thing is, if you get Conference, we'll just play like what Chelsea did. We'll just play the second team all the time.
But that's a good thing, though. That's a European trophy at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And it'll get in it's more revenue. Even if you're in the Europa League or Conference, you're still bringing revenue for playing in the European football.
Paul says we should just pass the City game. No, we can't just pass. We've got to at least go there. How about Paul?
Yeah.
At least go there. You know, if we get beat, fair enough. The league is priority to get a European spot. I'll say what you're saying, but we'll kind of just roll over and tickle with bellies now. Kurt Zuma, nope, not for that, not for me, Raymond, sorry.
Zuma.
Next couple of seasons, we need to replace Trippier, Sherburn, Pope, Kraft, Joe Linton, Murphy. Yeah, you're all getting on the wrong ages. You're right, Gary. How are the lads? Happy for us to use some of our fringe players, to be honest. It would do the squad more benefit than running to the ground and being that. Interesting now. Let's hear from Josh. We'll be back with you in a few minutes. Check out the snow.
So yeah, what do I think for Man City and the second leg of the Carabao Cup? Obviously, things not looking good at the moment. We are down 2-0. not another happy hunting ground, especially, which is not a good sight after what we just experienced at Anfield. The boring answer is no. No, I don't think we will. I don't think this is the season. And I'll summarize it as this. I said very early on in the year, when we were going into the season and we've added the people that we have added, what was our initial impressions? Hey, I think we made some solid additions, but I still didn't think we had made enough additions to be competing on 4 fronts successfully. I mean, look at your Man Cities and things like that. I mean, even they at times still have mini quote-unquote injury crises throughout a season, with just injuries piling up at a specific position and whatnot. So my long story to this is, I felt like this year the Carabao kind of needed to be deprioritized. Otherwise, we're going to see the inconsistency that we've seen. And I think a big part of the inconsistency that we have seen has been due to overall squad depth. Now, we can get into the nuances of in-game management and decisions and blah, blah, blah. But that's not what today's about. So, long story, do I think we're going to get back into it? No. But obviously my heart as a Newcastle fan says anything is always possible, and you never know. You get that first one early and maybe some doubt creeps in and some stuff like that. So in this kind of game, because in a way it's like a free hit, I say you just go at it. I'd rather go down swinging, even if it ends with an aggregate of we lost 4-0, 6-0. I'd rather go at it swinging at this point than sit there and go in safe. And I think that's the mindset Eddie's going to go. Backline of Botman, Chow, and Miley, Hall. I'd leave Burn on the bench for this. I go Miley over Trippier because I think Miley better suits us for Premier League opponents. I think Trippier will be better used for FA Cup. Well, I say that and we play Villa. That may not be the best, but I think better rotationally use him for these kind of games coming up in the Champions League. I think his experience will be valuable there. So that would be my vote for that. Midfield, hopefully Bruno is back. I think the belief is that Bruno would be back. So I'm going to go Bruno, Tonali, and Ramsey. I think while Joe Linton's out with his injury, I think we need to give as much of a run of games to Ramsey as possible. Give him a chance to grab it. And then when it's time for Joe to come back, if Ramsey hasn't grabbed it, then Joe comes back in. Front, I would go Vissa. I'm going to go Barnes on the left, Alanga on the right, just for the hope of the counter-attack. I know Alanga did not look great against Liverpool. That would be my lineup. So that's my thoughts. What do I think it's actually going to end up being? I'm going to say we lose 2-1. I'm going to say we maybe make it interesting for a couple minutes, for a little bit, but the game gets away from us as we're having to play aggressively and chase it. Back to you, Lee.
Thank you very much, Josh. The snow looks like it's starting to go away now with the nice sunshine in the background there. Josh walked around, so thank you very much, Josh, and stepping out into the brave. A couple of things you mentioned there, Matt. Do you see Miley coming in at right back and then Trippier just getting given a rest?
Yeah. No, I think Miley starts midweek because Trippier's played 3 big games in a row.
4 now, isn't he?
Well, yeah, 4, yeah. And I think I said it in last time I come on one of these. It was his pace isn't there anymore. I think he will be gone in the summer as well. I think Trippier will be gone in the summer. So I think Miley comes in for this game and probably against Villa too. Brentford. Sorry, got Brentford the weekend. So
we do. A couple of chats. Big restart coming in the summer, says Andrew, feeling in the water. Do you fancy a Boston Terrier to go with your Frenchie, Lee? I have pups here. Do you want any pups, Matt, Dale? Want any
no, I'm fine. I've got a cat.
No, squirrel's enough on our own.
I'm getting another Frenchie very soon. So I would say, the next
So that's Shearer and Ferdinand.
Shearer, I'm calling me second pup Shearer, of course, it has to be. Mateta, we'll answer that. Raymond's got them there. This, anyone fancy Mateta?
I would take Mateta. He's in goal scoring. One
mute.
on form, he's on a goal scoring machine, but he's more likely going to AC Milan.
Yeah, I can't say that. Not when we're. If Asula left, then yeah, I could see maybe going for another striker. But
I thought Josh was a bit harsh on Elanga when he says, "Oh, he played poor." I thought he had a good game. He was causing trouble.
I thought he was decent because he was running Arsenal with the pace. So it's not a bad shout. I could see Elanga starting against Man City. I think
why not go for it? Just I would say Bonds. Hard to say, but I would put Gordon probably be up top again. I would say.
No, I actually think you might change the keeper just for this one game. Just Ramsdale just for the game.
Ramsdale will come in because he's played all the League Cup, hasn't he?
No, I think Ramsdale may come in for that as well. Mateta Milan transfers collapsed. Interestingly,
wow.
The issue apparently says Strasbourg. Steve, no issue for Mateta. Interesting. But we're starting to wrap up then. So we've covered briefly the Man City game there coming up. Actually, we'll get some score predictions. Do you know I'm gonna be optimistic, kind of.
You're gonna go 3-0.
No, I reckon we'll win on the night, but we'll lose on the tie.
1-0 win. I'm gonna go. We're gonna win 2-0. Right. And then the more iconic thing, we're gonna get beat on pens.
I reckon we'll win 2-1, but go out on the tie. Matt?
I reckon it'll be 2-2.
On aggregate?
No, on the night.
Somebody who's Elanga's much better, looks much sharper, read some news, let's see what's happening across the board. Tonali, Arsenal, laugh our faces, that's not happening. That's probably the one. So we are expecting Lascelles to leave. That's probably the only official from what we see. If there is, and that's a big if, one of us will jump on later and do an update if there's any movement.
Come on, Eddie. Go for Harry Wilson. Go in a cheeky bid. Come on, Eddie.
Harry Wilson, how much would you take Fulham to sell him at you?
I'll just whack out. Yes, 20 million. Well, would you rather take 20 million or 0? Especially on deadline day as well.
I think he's got great technique and scores worldies, but I don't know, is he that player to take to the next level? It's one of them, isn't it?
It's one of them things. You get your goals and you'll look for the passes to get like Valdemar, Wester, whoever's up front or on the left. And he can play in the centre mid as well. So you've got a right wing and a centre mid, kind of more rotational roles as well.
I'll go back to the final question, the last two, then we'll wrap up. First one, once again, because I think I asked 1 year earlier, I might have asked Dale this. Is Eddie Howe waiting until the summer to spend?
Yes.
Or is he being told that?
I think it's a mixture of. Yeah, I'm going to go because we had a conversation this last week. It is already. I think the borders went right. Eddie, either got
your decision
to buy in the summer. You get no funds unless you sell players to create funds to go and buy people, or do you want to go half the transfer in the summer, half in the winter? And then I think Eddie's realised we've got all the positions. I need to do it in the summer.
Well, we'll get the Champions League money, won't we?
Yeah.
So, Matt, who's playing poker here?
I think it's the hierarchy have made that decision.
I do.
Yeah.
I think they've said this is the amount X what we've got. If we spend here, this means we have less here.
Because the reason I say that as well is you get a situation like you have with other clubs where they'll sort of give a manager all of this and then get their sort of players. And then if they do end up making a decision, they've then got to do all of that. I mean, Man United are terrible for it and stuff. So I reckon they're keeping it sort of lid down a little bit and then go in the summer.
Yeah, because Champions League money is loads, isn't it? Last one. Do you see any current first team players leaving in the summer for a fee? When I say first team, Trippier's not first choice.
No. I'm going to say no. Well, everyone says I hope not, but everyone's thinking it's that Livermento to Man City. But I'm going to go no.
Matt?
I think Tino's got a price that if it comes in, they will sign him. I don't want to, though, because I want to see him sign a new deal. Same for Lewis Hall. I think Tonali will have a price if we don't get Champions League. Again, do not want him going anywhere, but I think he'll have a price if we don't get Champions League.
I think we could sell a first choice player in the summer if we don't get Champions League.
Yeah.
And that may compensate for getting X, Y, and Z in. But we'll see, because recruitment needs a big focus, because in the summer, I don't think it was particularly great. Obviously, the Isak carry-on didn't help with the forward line, but overall, the previous 3 years has been fantastic. So there we go. Thank you to Matt.
Thank you. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you to Dale.
Thanks, everybody.
And like I said, we'll be back later if any news does break, but we don't expect it to. But from us three, we'll see you very soon here on Newcastle Fans.
Good afternoon.